George Washington is remembered as the first president of the United States, the father of a nation, and a symbol of calm leadership. But long before American independence, Washington was a young officer fighting for the British Empire, riding straight into gunfire, surviving battles that should have killed him. His survival became so legendary that even his enemies believed he was protected by something beyond human luck. Our story begins in 1755, during the French and Indian War, 2 decades before the American Revolution. Washington was just 23 years old, serving as a volunteer aide-de-camp to British General Edward Braddock. The mission: drive the French out of the Ohio River Valley. The expedition marched deep into the American wilderness, moving slowly, cutting roads through dense forests. Washington warned Braddock the terrain was perfect for an ambush, but Braddock ignored him. On July 9, 1755, the column crossed the Monongahela River. Only a few miles away from Fort Duquesne, modern-day Pittsburgh, what happened next became one of the most shocking defeats in British colonial history. As the British forces marched along the narrow wooded path, the forest exploded with musket fire. French soldiers and Native American warriors poured bullets from the trees, hidden and almost invisible. The British, trained for open-field European warfare, panicked. Drums beat, officers shouted orders no one could hear, and chaos swallowed the army. Washington rode directly into the storm. On his tall chestnut horse, he carried orders from Braddock to scattered units, galloping back and forth through musket fire so thick that soldiers later said it hummed like bees. Men fell all around him. Half of the officers were dead or wounded, but Washington kept riding, calm and fearless. Then it happened. A musket ball ripped through his coat. Another pierced his hat. 2 horses were shot from beneath him, one collapsing so suddenly that Washington stumbled to his feet, grabbed another mount, and rode on. His boots were splattered with mud and blood, yet not a single bullet touched his body. Witnesses were stunned. They saw bullets tear through his clothes but never through his skin. General Braddock was eventually shot and mortally wounded. With the army collapsing, Washington took command without hesitation. He rallied the remaining men, organized an orderly retreat, and saved hundreds of lives. It was the first moment he proved he could lead under impossible pressure. After the battle, Washington wrote to his family, describing the miracle: by the all-powerful dispensations of Providence, I have been protected beyond all human probability or expectation. Even more incredible is what happened 15 years later. In 1770, Washington returned to the same region on a surveying trip. An elderly Native American chief approached him with several warriors. The chief told Washington that he had fought in the Battle of the Monongahela and that his warriors had specifically aimed at Washington, believing he was a leader. They fired repeatedly and they could not understand how every bullet missed. The chief said, "A mighty power protected you. You cannot be killed in battle." Whether one believes in destiny or simply unbelievable luck, history shows that Washington repeatedly survived situations where death seemed certain. He was nearly drowned during a river crossing as a young man. He survived deadly diseases like smallpox and malaria. And in battle after battle during the American Revolution, Brooklyn, Long Island, White Plains, Monmouth remained on the front lines, exposed, calm, and untouched. His soldiers believed he was invincible. Many British officers did too. But Washington never saw himself as invulnerable. To him, survival came with responsibility. He believed his life was being preserved for a purpose greater than personal glory. That belief shaped his leadership in the Revolution and later as president. The near-death experience at the Monongahela taught him the cost of arrogance and the value of listening to local knowledge. It showed him the fragility of armies and the importance of strong, steady leadership. Those lessons became crucial when he commanded the Continental Army 2 decades later. When we think of Washington today, we often imagine a stoic man on the dollar bill. But behind that image is a young officer riding fearlessly through gunfire. Bullets ripping through his coat, horses falling beneath him, and soldiers staring in disbelief as he walked away without a scratch. His survival in 1755 wasn't just luck, it became part of the legend that helped inspire a new nation.